In this video, if you couldn't figure it out from the photo, I'm going to be talking about the pilot shortage. And hopefully my opinion doesn't piss off too many people. Coming up.
963 heavy, sliding 190, maintain 10,000, runway 18 left, clear for takeoff.
Hey crew, what's going on? Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name's Kelsey. I'm a 747 pilot. This channel is all about aviation. Consider subscribing. In this video, I'm going to talk about worldwide what's happening with the pilot shortage, whether it's real or fake. The obvious first area I want to talk about is in the US. Right now you're having it at the regional level. Let's say 5 years ago compared to now, a lot of the new pilots are getting probably double the pay that they were getting a few years ago.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
What's happening is the regional airlines are offering bonuses, they're offering signing bonuses, retention bonuses to stay. They're doing all kinds of things to get guys to come there, offering free hotels. At one point they did double occupancy during training, which means you shared a room with another dude.
Are you serious?
Which is super awkward, but it's not happening like that anymore. It's single occupancy. So those are some scenarios that are happening at the regional level. I have friends who are in their early 20s who have less than 3,000 hours total time, less than 1,000 hours airline captain time, commonly referred to as turbine PIC. And those guys are getting hired right now to go fly at legacy airlines. Your legacy airlines are going to be Delta, American, United, things like that. You're also having those guys get hired at Southwest and JetBlue. You're having guys with a lot less experience that 5 years ago never would have had a chance to even get in there. So that's what's happening here in the US. Let's go to Asia. 5-6 years ago, I would get emails from different Chinese carriers saying, hey, come and work here. We'll pay you $250,000 after taxes. Wow, that's a lot of money, right? Now the emails are saying $350 and kind of hinting at $400,000. I was flying with a guy a couple weeks ago who was a 777 captain there in Asia, in China. At the end of his 3-year contract, he was saying, yeah, I don't think I'm going to renew. This isn't really for me or for my family. And that carrier was offering him, I want to say he said $50,000 or $60,000 just to stay there and do another couple of years. There's a huge change that's happening over there as well, where they're having the huge middle class growth, and they're having a lot of shortage for pilots with experience. Obviously, you need to have jet PIC experience in order to get those jobs. Going into the Middle East, recently I saw an article that talked about Etihad lending pilots to Emirates because they couldn't keep enough pilots to cover all their flying. Now, I've talked to guys that have flown at Emirates and are flying at Emirates. They say it's changed a lot over the last few years, where so many guys have left there to go back to their home country and have a better quality of life. And what that's done is Emirates hasn't been able to hire as many people, which means they're working the pilots a lot harder than they used to. That's causing more people to leave. It's kind of a vicious circle that they're in right now. I have a friend of mine that I fly with now, and I flew with him together at the regionals actually. He, several years ago, had went there and applied. Obviously, he didn't get hired. But after a couple years, just recently, he was telling me that they had sent him an email saying, hey, if you want to come back here and interview again, you don't have to do all the preliminary testing. Just come on back over here to Dubai. We'll do an interview. And, that's another scenario where you're seeing, obviously, they're not able to get and retain and keep the amount of pilots that they're used to having. So now they're reaching back to people who had applied or that were rejected and offering them to come back again. I know a guy who was there and quit in the middle of his contract. Apparently that used to be like a death sentence and you would never be able to go back there. But he got called and offered to go back and fly again there. Things are changing, and things that used to be black and white are now becoming very gray as far as who they're willing to hire, where they weren't willing to hire a guy with this experience or who had left. Now they're starting to do that. In South America, here's another example. Early in my career, I was trying to get onto a Boeing or Airbus aircraft. I have a lot of friends in Colombia. It's a place that I really enjoy going. I used to visit there a lot. So I went there and I did all the things that they wanted me to do to get my license converted and apply, and I never heard anything from them. Fast forward to 2 months ago, I got a call from a good friend of mine that's down there. He'd actually sent me a link that one of the carriers down there was their specifically looking to hire foreign pilots to come and work there. And that's just, again, due to the shortage of pilots that they have. Obviously, all these jobs are talking about guys with some years of experience. It's not a 250-hour pilot, but that's just showing you what the opportunities are out there. The last option I'll tell you about is just in Europe in general. 5-6 years ago, I remember reading a lot of places they were charging guys to get, I think they called it line training. You had to pay for your own type on a 737 or an Airbus. You had to pay for several hundred hours of monitored flying, and these airlines were charging, I think it was something like $40,000 or $50,000.
Whoa!
But in order to get time and type, because you needed to have time in the aircraft in order to get hired by a lot of places. So these companies were charging all this money so you could go get a couple hundred hours in the aircraft so you could apply to get a job somewhere. More and more I'm seeing those types of industries closing their doors because people are able to get jobs a lot easier. Maybe you have to start off on a smaller aircraft, an ATR or something like that. Guys are able to get jobs where 5 or 6 years ago they weren't able to even get an entry-level job, flying an RJ, a CRJ, or an ERJ, one of the smaller 70-seater aircrafts that they're flying. They wouldn't even be able to go get those jobs. Those jobs are getting filled because those pilots are obviously moving on to larger aircraft. So those are some of the scenarios that I'm seeing that are going on right now. In my opinion, what you're having a shortage of pilots, but more a shortage of pilots with experience. If you're coming through or you're considering going through flight school right now, I think your opportunities are really endless of what could happen in the next 5 to 10 years. I look at where the job situations were 5 years ago compared to now, and it's night and day. Now, that's not to say something in 5 more years it couldn't get worse because of some economic crash or...
Hey, you shut your face!
Generally speaking, the overall trend the last 5 years has been dramatically in the favor of pilots, where airlines are paying more. You're getting guys where they're leaving their current airline to go to their dream airline. I've known guys that were out, for example, flying at Delta, and they always wanted to go to FedEx, and they're leaving Delta to go to FedEx. 5 years ago, you would never have done that. People are at that airline, great, I'm just happy I'm here. I don't ever want to leave. So more and more, what you're seeing is the demand for these pilots are increasing exponentially until they're able to figure out another solution like flying single pilot aircraft or drone aircraft, which I don't know about you. I personally wouldn't want to sit in a tube with 300 other people knowing that there's a robot is the only thing that's driving it.
You should be flying this plane.
These planes fly themselves. This baby is a technological marvel.
I don't think that that's going to be something that's going to be happening in the very near future. So if you're feeling discouraged as you're going through flight school right now and what are my options, man, your options are a lot better than when I came out of flight school, and I really think it's only going to be improving from here. Okay, crew, that's my opinion of what I think is happening with the pilot shortage. In the comments below, let me know if you could work for any airline anywhere in the world, what airline it would be. I look forward to hearing from you. Until then, keep the blue side up.